Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kingdom Death Simulator. I am Samodian. Welcome aboard, and I'm calling my shot. As I posted on my Blue Sky, we're not losing anybody tonight. This is our fourth start of People of the Dreamkeeper, and it has not gone well. Um, some learning curves, some mistakes, but some incredibly bad luck. But we are changing all of that now. Not losing anyone tonight. So, hello, everybody. I am Samodian. Welcome to my Twitch channel where we stream Kingdom Death Simulator. As always, start off with our content warning. Kingdom Death Simulator and the board game it's based on, Kingdom Death Monster, are a very mature game. They contain a lot of mature imagery, as well as descriptions and depictions of violence, gore, and body trauma, as well as descriptions of mental trauma. So, if any of that is too much for you, perfectly understand. First and foremost, please look out for yourselves. Next up, with our normal housekeeping, we have our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to see all of my previous failures, you can do so right there. And for you folks on YouTube, check in the link to the description below for a link to the Twitch channel where we are live on Friday evenings. And as always, Kingdom Death is an immensely complicated game. There are rules upon rules upon rules, especially when you're playing solo. I will be controlling 4 to 5 different characters, as well as the monster, having to make all the decisions for each of them and making sure I get all the rules right. Spoiler alert, I won't. Especially, it's been a long week. I am not having a particularly powerful brain day at this point, but we are going to soldier on, going to do my best as always. Probably going to make some mistakes, endeavor to try to catch those, learn about them in between streams, and try to improve in the future. Try not to slow down the stream too much looking up rules. But if you do notice that I missed something, you can use the remind chat or the remind command to get my attention. Or on, again, YouTube folks, leave a comment. Let me know if you think I might have gotten a ruling wrong. I appreciate every bit of information I can get. And we can dive right on into it. We are once again starting our Dreamkeeper campaign over. So we have our prologue croc in front of us. Joining us this evening with our starting survivors, we have Marie with the darkness knowledge. We have Randolph with the despair knowledge. Leo with the fear knowledge. And finally, Carla with the hunger knowledge. So trying to be a little more tactical with my setup here. Got a solid first turn play. And we'll see how that goes because everything goes according to plan here. But looking at our croc for the prologue, the croc is not as scary as it can normally be, coming in with 6 toughness and only 9 wounds. Also, as usual, we have the regular croc traits, Immortal Presence. So when a survivor has 0 insanity, they gain the Terrified status. And Terrified means they are guardless, so they cannot dodge or otherwise ignore damage. And then once they have at least 1 insanity, they can spend their action to archive the card. So we're going to be spending a lot of time hanging around the blood pool, which is going to be our primary source of insanity for this fight. We also have Enchanted Flesh. This will come up pretty frequently throughout the fight. Gives him special coagulated hit locations. These coagulated hit locations, you want to damage them from the highlighted spot. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. And finally, Adrenal Adept, when you would gain insanity from a brain trauma, instead suffer 1 damage to a random hit location. So the croc is not an easy fight. I'd still say it's a bit better than the frog dog. I think the fight itself is easier on the frog dog, but just the statuses that the frog dog can hit you with can really slow down your campaign. I absolutely adore the croc. It's a tough fight, but once you kind of learn how to work with it, it's solvable. Um, I think I've got like overall strategy. It's just a matter of being able to roll the dice. That is the most important skill in this game is luck. So I think that's all we have ahead of us. So, and we have our terrain set up. I think we are good to go. So let's kick it off. Croc, as always, on first turn with the 21,000 Newton bite. Target is the threat with the most tokens in range. Nobody has any tokens. So then next is going to be the closest survivor. Everybody is equidistant. And I know, again, always starts with this card, that you don't want to pile up in front of the croc in your first turn, because he's just going to move up here and perform this action on Leo. So 2 speed, accuracy of 3+. That is 1 hit. Before damage, so if you are terrified or deaf, you cannot avoid this attack. Otherwise, you hear the zealous finger strumming and escape the bite's full power, reduce the damage in this attack profile to 1. So very, very important to not be terrified. So Leo will take 1 damage to his waist. That is perfect. That is where we want to be taking damage. So that is the only place we currently have armor. Also did not mention it, but as an addition to the croc fight, since the croc, otherwise everybody would start off terrified, the prologue croc, everybody starts with an extra insanity. And Leo, since he has darkness, or I'm sorry, did I get that wrong? Oh, I have the wrong character up in my little tracker here. Give me a second. You're Leo. That's not waste. There we go. Since Leo has fear, fear will gain an observation when you suffer damage. I planned for this. The extent of my planning does not go much farther beyond this. All right, so for our first turn, we know what the top hit location is. Again, prologue fight, you always set that up. So let's go ahead and actually just flip it and look at it now. So the top hit location, much like against the croc, has a special critical wound that will make this fight significantly easier. So our traditional play in this scenario is to have Leo use his founding stone. So we can spend our action to sling the stone from anywhere on the board, archive the card for 1 automatic hit that inflicts a critical wound. So when we look at this card, automatically hits, automatically deals a critical wound. Excellent. So we can take top card off of our AI deck and deal a wound to the monster. Beyond that, your attack shatters the translucent scab covering the stone faces on the monster's back. Find the sparkling upper back coagulated hit location and set it aside. So we will look in here. Sparkling upper back would be this one. Set it aside, reshuffle the hit location deck, sure, and place the card on top. And then persistent injury with exposed back, so we will keep this in play. Monster Panic, making it easier to hit. It gains a -1 evasion token. Are you evasion? You are evasion. So we will give the monster -1 evasion. Will now be easier to hit. Good stuff all around for our first turn. Now, with the coagulated hit location. So if you see this card, let's go ahead and pick it. Ooh, not you. Let's pick it up. And we can rotate it so you see from the monster's facing. So we want to be standing right here when we attempt to wound this location. So we will do that with Randolph. Randolph will step up. And this is something I have learned since previous encounters. We are going to use Randolph's Fist and Tooth skill. He does have the Founding Stone that is available as a weapon, slightly higher probabilities, but between the -1 evasion token and a lot of these locations, one, they give you a strength bonus when you try to wound them. So the lack of strength from Fist and Tooth is mitigated. And 2, they usually have pretty good crit locations. And Fist and Tooth will crit on a 9 or a 10 instead of the normal 10. So that is what we are going to do. Randolph is going to try to swing with Fist and Tooth. So he needs a 7 to hit from this location. Does not hit. That's okay. We're just going to kind of hang out for a bit now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have Marie come around to the blood pool, and she is going to just drink some blood, because the goal here is to have everybody at a minimum of 2 insanity. That is the strategy I've been working with for the croc now. So let's go ahead and roll here. Don't feel comfortable calling that a 9, so we're going to re-roll. 8. Okay, so blood is warm. Gain star insanity. Star is monster level. So Marie will gain 1 insanity. And then we are going to have Carla do the exact same thing. That looks like a 5. Once again, 1 insanity for Carla. Cool. So that ends our turn. We get to pass it over to the monster. Monster draws its card. Hail of Fingers, closest threat in range. So that will be either Leo or Randolph. Okay, this one's interesting. So I think we're going to keep targeting Leo because we kind of want Leo to get hit a bit because of his fear knowledge. So the monster gains +1 speed for each card in the monster's wound stack. So currently there's only 1. We actually drew this at a pretty good time. So it's going to be attacking with 2 speed, only hitting on 7s though. Of course. So we get 1 hit. So Leo will take 1 damage. Again to the waist. That is fine. We will continue doing that. And then if the monster attacked with 10+ speed, it did not. We move on. So we're right back here. And what I'm going to do, I probably should have spaced them out slightly differently. I would like to swap Randolph for Marie. See if Randolph can get the blood. But I don't quite have the movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't quite have the movement I would like. So we're just going to keep Randolph here, and we're just going to repeat that attack again. Still looking for those 7s. Still nothing. Okay. At this point, what we're going to do, we're going to have Leo interact with the Survivor Corpse. With a solid 1, okay. Gets an insanity, which is fine. Would have liked a little more, but it is what it is. And then I think what I'm going to do here, because I don't want to slow play too much, is I'm going to bring Marie around just to kind of like a safe location. And she is also going to throw her Founding Stone. So we will wound this location automatically with a crit. So with that crit, your attack smashes through a layer of stone faces the monster is hoarding on its back. 1 stone face bounces to the ground. Gain a Founding Stone starting gear and +1 survival. Okay, so I had planned ahead to a point. Now I have to remember, if we ever do this prologue again, that this is basically just a free wound because you get your Founding Stone back. So let's deal that wound, and we need to go get our Founding Stone back. Just grab 1 out of the game box. And there we go. So now we kind of have free reign to continue our fight. And what we could do is we can bring Carla in here. So Carla might as well Founding Stone. In the blind spot, she will be hitting on 6s. Founding Stone would normally hit on a 7. Or actually hitting on 5s because of the -1 evasion as well. Regardless, 2 hits. And of course, one of them is the trap. Oh! All survivors are doomed. The monster's minifigures gesture in a hypnotic wave. The attacker gains the Terrified Survivor status card. So that would be Carla down here. The monster accelerates your heart rate, gain the Death Count Survivor status card as well. If you already have it, place a Death Count token on the card. The monster giggles, full moves away from all survivors, then turns to face the attacker. So that's going to be this way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay. So in order to keep my nobody dies rule going, we've got to start wailing on this guy. Because Death Count. At the end of each round, gain +1 survival and place a Death Count token on this card. You may surge an additional time each round for each token on the card. When there are 5 or more tokens on the card, your heart bursts, killing you instantly. So, +1 survival is going to help us very much because we have 1 survival with a maximum of 1. Surge doesn't help us at all because we have not unlocked that yet. As a matter of fact, in all of my attempts at Dreamkeeper, I still have not yet managed to unlock Surge. Innovations have not been kind to me. But also, unfortunately, that is the end of the survivor's turn, which is also the end of the round. So we are already... Why is that bouncing more than normal? E is supposed to... Or is it Shift E? There we go. Okay. Shift E, and we can set that to 1. All right, now we got some problems here. And then we will shuffle this back in. All right, got to start doing things. Whipping and slamming. Repeat. When this card is resolved, place it back on top of the AI deck face up. While face up, ignore effects that manipulate the AI deck. Place a token on this card and target the closest survivor. So closest survivor is going to be poor Carla. Move and synchronic attack. Move the monster so that the target is in the right spot. So that would be right there. Or we could game it. This is going to be a better play for us. Because otherwise, Leo gets snagged as well. Yeah, this is okay. Not great, but it's okay. So this attack gains +1 speed and +1 damage for each token on it. So this is going to be a 2 speed attack, hitting on 3s. 2 hits, so that's going to be 2 damage each, and Carla is also terrified, so she can't dodge anything. 4 damage to the body. Okay. So that's already a severe injury. Okay. Somebody might die. Oh, man. Why? There we go. With a 9. Okay. Collapse the lung, can't catch her breath, gain -1 movement token and a bleed token. Okay, we can work with that. -1 movement. And now that's going to be 2 bleed tokens, actually. Because in addition to everything else, this does bleed 1 and knockback 5. Which, 1, 2, 3. All right, this is not going great because that means Marie is now also knocked down. And then this goes back on top. It has a token on it. So we gotta wound that off. Okay. So what I would like to do here is have Leo step into the blind spot. He has already spent his Founder Stone, so he's just going to be fisting in 2 things. So normally hit on an 8, 7 for the blind spot, 6 for the -1 evasion. 2 hits. Okay. That's not great. Okay, so we're probably going to start with this one. So we have no strength against a toughness of 6, so we need a 6 to wound, but with Fist and Tooth, we'll also be critting on a 9. No luck. Monster turns to face you and deftly swats away your attack with its tongue. So, if you're attacking with a melee weapon, you are disarmed. So we are not attacking with a melee weapon. And extremely impressed, gaining +1 survival, +1 insanity. So nothing else happens on this card. Now, as for this one, again, wounding on a 6. That is a wound. So now this card is gone. Compulsive reactions cannot be canceled. The monster recoils, its fresh blood instantly congealing into hard, translucent scabs. Archive this. Okay, this is where I've messed up before. Pull this one off. Previously, I've accidentally archived the whole chunk of the deck. And draw a coagulated hit location. So when you draw the coagulated, you're supposed to draw off the bottom of the deck, which I believe is Shift 1? Nope. Shift E. There we go. So, can we get Randolph into that spot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We cannot get Randolph there just now. So, I need to deal damage, but I also need to play smart. So, the smart play is to go here and get Randolph up to that 2 insanity mark. With an 8, he absolutely will. All right, that ends our turn, which unfortunately means this ticks up to 2. And we draw our next AI card. Crimson Snap, threat with the least insanity in range. So everybody has 2 insanity. So we're just going to choose Leo for this still, I believe. So 2 speed, hitting on 3s. 1 hit. That is going to be 2 damage to his body, which I believe we're just going to have Leo spend his survival to dodge that one. All right, back around to our turn, which means the ladies stand up. Okay, what? So the first thing we want to do is have Carla get rid of Terrified. So she's just going to step to here. That seems like a good place, just kind of out of the path of danger if anything bad happens, to get rid of her Terrified. Next up, we got to try to wound these things. So Leo's just going to try to punch it in the face. So hitting on 7s. No luck. Randolph is going to do the same. With a hit. You strike the monster's pride and joy. Gain +6 strength to wound this location. So this means we will wound on anything but a 1. It's actually a crit, because I know I didn't say it, but you know I'm fisting and toothing these coagulated hit locations. And the fact that I said it hits on a 7. So, start off with dealing a wound. All right, gain 1 random monster resource. Nice. Pale flesh is good. Persistent injury, lost humor. Your attack savages a carefully cultivated cluster of egg mushrooms. The sparkle fades from the monster's wild irises, affects some AI cards. Alrighty. So we've got a lost humor and an exposed back. I'm fairly certain the exposed back doesn't do anything in the prologue, but I'm not sure about the lost humor. So all that's left is Marie. And I don't really want to do this, but I kind of have to. Have her come in. She's going to use her Founding Stone, so she will hit on on 6s. No such luck. Yeah, I don't like being grouped up like this, but Carla's running out of turns. Vampire Bite. Last threat to attack in range is going to be Marie. 2 speed, hitting on 3s. So let's start with that. That is 1 hit, so we're probably going to dodge this. Monster's long tooth just 2 damage. Well, let's see what it rolls, just to see. Yeah, we're definitely dodging that. No second guesses. All right, now we just got to start beating the heck out of this guy. Because poor Carla only has 2 turns to live. So Leo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's fine. It's going to Fist and Tooth. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, he can't do that. That would be 6. Oh, I also... Carla was speed 4. I think that was okay at speed 4. I just got to remember that. Or movement 4. Sorry. Speed is something different. Also, what was Carla's thing? No, hunger. It was brain trauma, brain damage. Yeah, so nothing on severe injuries. That's right. And Leo, I think, took another one, right? Yeah, Leo should be up to 2 ticks on this. All right. So unfortunately, can't get anyone into the blind spot, which I don't like. So we're just going to stand here and start wailing. So might as well start with Leo. So he has Fist and Tooth, so he will be hitting on 7s. 1 hit. Okay, nothing terribly crazy about this card. So again, wounding on a 6. No. We'll just go down the line. Starting off with Marie. She will use her Founding Stone, so hitting on 6s. 2 hits. Wow. All right, what are we looking at here? Neither one of these is great. But which one is Marie? It's brain damage, not brain trauma. Okay, well, whatever. We'll just start with this one. I get they're both not great. So this will wound on a 5 because we have the Founding Stone. Ugh. All right. And then we're done with that card. So the monster's lower jaw drops open, its long tongue undulating hypnotically. Turn the monster to face the attacker and move 3 spaces back. The attacker suffers the Flee brain trauma. If they are immortal, they suffer the Frenzy brain trauma instead. So the Flee brain trauma. You are knocked down and suffer knockback equal to your movement towards the closest board edge and gain 1d5 insanity. So the 1d5 insanity will be a solid 1. But also, because of Adrenal Adept, that means she will take 1 damage to her body. You are Carla. So that's going to be another serious injury. And then she is knocked down. And knocked back towards the closest board edge is going to be this one, which means Leo is also knocked down. That's not great. Okay, well, we just got to remember Leo is supposed to be there. It's being weird. So that's another severe injury to the body. With an 8, we're holding on. Broken rib. It even hurts to breathe. Suffer -1 permanent speed is bad. And gain a bleeding token. Why? I don't know why I keep thinking that's Carla. That's still Marie. My goodness. No, not gaping chest wound. Broken rib. -1 permanent speed. Not looking great for Carla, I'm going to be honest, guys. The good news is, since they got knocked down on their turn, they're not going to be down for... All right, Randolph, we will Founding Stone. So hitting 6s. Perfect hit. Doesn't really do anything for us right now, but it's still a hit. And again, wounding on a 5. All right, we're disarmed. Need to grab that token. That's the wrong box. Disarmed. Place the disarm 5 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. There we go. And then Carla, 1, 2, 3, 4. And honestly, she's just going to throw her Founding Stone. She's about to die, so might as well. No crit, unfortunately, but it still does count as a wound. So it's another compulsive one. Archive this card and draw another coagulated hit location. That's not a great one. So next turn we're probably going to need someone. Probably going to need... Randolph doesn't have his Founding Stone. Marie. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Because we can't get line of sight for a Founding Stone attack. Oh, that's going to be a big problem. All right, well, let's figure that out when we get there. Carla's going to die. Unless I get insanely lucky. All right, well, let's see what's next. Crimson Snap. Threat with least insanity and range. So that's going to be... Marie has 2, Randolph has 2, Leo has 2, Carla has 3. So we might as well just pick Randolph since he's right here. Can I actually... Because it doesn't have to be the closest, right? We can... Threat with the least insanity means we can choose anybody but Carla. So we can choose Marie, which we're going to do. Oh, no. Because he has to take the closest, the shortest path, which means he's going to end up landing on Randolph. So we're actually better off choosing Leo, because remember, Leo is in this square. He's just laying down weird. So he'll go here. 2 speed, hitting on 3s. Ooh, this actually could be bad. Let's think about this. Hold on. Leo does not have any survival to dodge. This is a 2 damage attack. The reason I want to do this is so that I can get to this spot to try and wound. Otherwise, we're going to be doing nothing next turn. I think we got to take the chance. 1 hit. Okay. So that is 2 damage to Leo's feet. That is fine. So he'll suffer a heavy wound, which means he would be knocked down, but he's already knocked down. All right, so this is our last chance to save Carla. It means Marie gets to stand up. Leo gets to stand up. All right, so if Randolph fails, I can now get Marie in line for that Founding Stone throw. So we will let Randolph try, because I would like to not use all my Founding Stones in year 1. So he'll be hitting on 6s from the blind spot. 1 hit. Okay, you strike the moist center of a sparkling scab on the monster's chunky tail. Gain +3 strength to wound this location. So this will wound on a 3. Thank goodness. So that is a wound. No crit, but that is fine. Okay. So 3 more wounds. We will save Marie for last, because if it comes down to it, she can just throw her Founding Stone. I would value the survivor living more than I value the Founding Stone. As for everyone else, best bet is kind of just to stand here and tank it. Okay, Carla, 1, 2, 3, 4. Carla cannot get to a good spot. So she might as well just step up here and see what she can do. If she had 1 more movement, she could get into the blind spot, but she can't. Carla does not have her Founding Stone, so she's going to be hitting on a 7. 1 hit. Okay, so crit would be great. Oh god, if she doesn't crit, the entire plan goes out the window. Well, let's see what happens. So this will wound on a 6. But I would love to see a 9 or a 10. Oh, so close. All right, well, let's play this out, see what happens. But unfortunately, Carla is just going to die. Because reflex happens on either a wound or a failure. The monster flips upside down and glides on its wriggling fingers, moving 2 spaces forward. So that means it's going to land here, which means Marie gets knocked back and knocked down, and Leo does the same. Cranes its neck to wink at the attacker. They suffer 1 brain damage. That's not even worth thinking about, because that means it's the end of the survivor's turn. This ticks up to 5, and Carla dies. Okay, but from here on out, nobody's dying. All right. So we should only have 1 card left in here. Yep. Unfortunately, it's a bad one. So threat with the least insanity and range is again going to be either Leo or Randolph. The smart play at this point is Randolph. I mean, or Marie, but again, Randolph is the one we want to, because we want to try and keep this thing centrally located. All right, hitting on 3s. That is 2 hits. That's rough. Randolph's almost definitely dodging one of these. Body and waist. Yeah, he's going to spend a survival to dodge the body, and he will take 2 to the waist. But that's the end of the monster's attack. Everybody got knocked down on the survivor turn, so they do get to stand up. So we might as well just have Leo give it another fist and tooth try. So this will be hitting on 6s. 2 hits. That's not awful. That's actually perfectly okay. So we will definitely do this one first. So again, wounding on a 6. No dice. The monster's plated scabs grind and crack, spraying pungent ichor. Bleeding wounds pucker and sizzle, erupting with fresh pain. All adjacent survivors suffer brain damage equal to their number of bleeding tokens. Well, neither Randolph nor Leo have any bleeding tokens. So we got this one. Same deal. That is actually a wound. All right, so this is the last AI card gone. Still have to deal 1 final wound to remove the basic action to actually defeat the monster, but we have a reflex here. The monster rolls without turning. Full move the monster to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. No collision. So that leaves Marie in a perfect position. Let's just use... She has her Founding Stone still? She does still have her Founding Stone. So she will hit on 5. 1 hit. Okay, so this will also wound on a 5. Of course. Moves 2 spaces forward. And Marie will take a brain damage. Which leaves Randolph still has not attacked. So he can get into range. Unfortunately, he's still got fist and tooth, so this will hit on 7s. 1 hit. Oh, I didn't even realize I was a coagulated. I got so lucky. Wow, I was not paying attention. All right, so for our final attempt here, +3 to wound, so this will wound on a 3. And that is a wound, which is enough to defeat the croc. Oh man, that early trap was tough, but it is what it is. Last time I fought the croc, 3 people died in the prologue, so this is definitely a win in my book comparatively. Oh, that's right. Marie had -1 speed, but I'm sorry, too much has passed. I can't rewind that far. Sorry guys. I think she only hit once anyway, if I'm remembering correctly. All right, let's move on. So, for our victory, everybody gets an XP. Yay! Carla's dead. Boo! All right, and with our rewards, we get 4 basic resources, Crimson Crocodile resource, and we unlock the crockery. I believe I still have that set up. I do. So let me just boop that deck on down there. All right, so 4 basics. Love juice. Excellent. Love to see a love juice on year 1. And 4 monsters. All right, we are cooking. I like what we have in front of us. All right, and that is the end of our showdown. We get to return to our settlement. Ta-da! So, first of all, settlement event. First Crimson Day. We also got to get our endeavors first. Sorry, we have 3 returning survivors, so we get 3 endeavors. So I believe I already have this on top. I do. Alrighty. Survivors trust their kill, putting their backs to the bloodbath. They set off, grimly dragging the squelching hulk into the darkness. Drawn by a soft glow, they approach a distant form. On a deep instinctual level, they know this place is safe, and they make it their home. Roll 1d10 to determine your starting population. So, to begin with, this is already an important roll. This is one of the few things I don't like, is that if you don't get this bloody cloth, this game gets very hard. So let's roll and see what happens. With a 5. Okay, so we get 9 unnamed survivors. So starting population of 12, not too bad. 1 death, we will get to that shortly. And that is that. So we are now done with this card forever. Next up, we have the Dreamless Respite. So I've done this a few times, but not enough to fully autopilot my way through it. So, Roar of Snores. Survivors approach a mass of dreaming bodies held aloft by a motionless giant. The snoring forms a dense roar that drowns out all other sound. The nominated survivor's voice is swallowed by the din. The settlement gains the Dreamless Language innovation. They find it ineffective for communicating around the sphere of snorers. They learn to communicate without sound. The settlement gains the Silent Dialect innovation. Nominated survivor gains +2 understanding. All right, so let's start off here. What was I looking for again? Dreamless Language and Silent Dialect. Is it in this deck? It is. I put them here for a reason. Come on. Good enough. So Dreamless Language, survival limit +1, and we get Encourage, as well as Silent Dialect. Settlement develops a silent form of communication. All survivors gain the Fist Pump survival action. So essentially, this is just two different versions of Encourage. But they are two unique actions. So that is something worth remembering, because I don't think I've ever actually thought of that. And survival limit goes up by 1. Yep. Survivors agree they must search the innovation card, place them on play, record this on your settlement, blah, blah, blah. Survivors agree they must hunt to live. Add the Prologue monster Crimson Crocodile to your quarry list. Dreamless Language is the innovation that sparks the creation of the innovation deck. Build the innovation deck now. This is exactly like it is in the normal game. Already done that prior to starting. Should have Ammonia, Drums, Hovel, Inner Lantern, Paint, and Symposium. Drum, Symposium, Hovel, Ammonia, Inner Lantern, Paint. Check. Also, I got to give somebody +2 understanding. We're going to pick one of our returning survivors. Don't want it to be Marie, because she's already not doing great. So it's either going to be Randolph or Leo. Just roll for it. Odds for Randolph. Evens means Leo. Leo will gain +2 understanding. And then the Giant Guardian. Exhausted, the nominated survivor nestles in the overflowing robes of the encumbered creature. Remains still, enthusiastically motioning for the others to join. The survivor names their settlement's guardian the Dreamkeeper. Search the settlement location cards for the Keeper of Dreams and place it face up in your play area. The Keeper of Dreams is the source of all innovations and further locations the settlement will develop. Huddled in the Dreamkeeper's robes, the sudden horror of existence is replaced by a spreading sense of calm. Under the droning thrum of snores and sighs, they drift off into dreamless sleep. Remove any disorders. Unfortunately, didn't have any disorders, and we gained the Grounded ability. At any time, you may set your insanity to 0, 1, or 2 once per lantern year. So we are done with Dreamless Respite, which means now we move on to First Meal. I always like this artwork. The colors on it, fantastic. Wish I could paint that good. Raise a drink. Nominated survivor to raise a drink. Settlement gathers. So this is going to be one of our new unnamed folks. Settlement gathers for their first meal. The nominated survivor raises their hands to mark the settlement's unity with a sanguine sip. Communal consumption benefits the ARC survivors' collective cognition. Build the collective cognition rewards deck. Did that off stream. Ordering the numbered cards to the lowest value on top. If duplicate numbers appear, check. Moving on. Survivors digest their feast, gain 1 collective cognition. Record this in the ARC settlement record sheet. And we do that. Yes. So let's get the collective cognition in. So we make sure we check that. And is that the last page, I believe? Yes. Crimson Crocodile with 1 check. So we gain our first card here. Attain Tier 1 philosophies. We will do that in just a second. Okay, so Discourse. The survivors examine the facets of existence through many lenses. Spirited debate erupts in the settlement as the survivors compare their viewpoints. Build the philosophy deck. Take 2 random Tier 1 philosophy cards and the core philosophy card, and set aside the starting philosophy card, Survivalism. So we need Dreamism, Survivalism, and then 2 random Tier 1s. So we're going to come into here. Philosophies. So Deadism, Faceism, Impermanism, Lanternism. Dreamism, and Survivalism. So we will hold on to those, archive the rest, and come in here. Survivalism. Why are you being weird? There we go. And Dreamism. Wait, what? Oh, the deck's being weird again. Come on. Oh, I should have... Yeah. So it should be... There we go. Much better. Shuffle that up. Take 2 of them off. Archive the rest. And then you are... Survivalism. So we take Dreamism. We shuffle you in. Put the philosophies here. And then Survivalism on top, which we will draw momentarily. Build our knowledge deck, of course. That's taking these cards. Got it. Nominated survivor gains a random knowledge from the deck, and then they focus and ponder the darkness. So let's take our random person here, shuffle it up, and they will get fear. And then they ponder the darkness. When the sudden acceleration of culture, the nominated survivor sees the path unfolding before them. Surviving the darkness is paramount. They gain Hunt XP up to the first milestone and adopt a philosophy. We'll give them a name in due time. When ARC survivors reach their first Hunt XP milestone, they adopt a philosophy by drawing the top card from the philosophy deck. Nominated survivor adopts Survivalism. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This is how we do it. Yeah, so we get Survivalism, pop that in there. So we also need to go fetch Tenacity. That will get added to our knowledge deck. So Survivalism. Oh, we could just grab the whole book, can't we? There it is. That's not a very good place for it. So Survivalism gives them the neurosis of selfish, which I don't think is specifically recorded anywhere here, but essentially it means they can't encourage. It's in the book. Let's look in the book. Yeah, when you encourage another survival, you roll a d10 on a 6+, you just don't do it. Keep your survival. You cannot encourage again this round. And then if it's possible to use Meat Shield, they must use it. So essentially, This person will just be using Fist Pump instead of Encourage. And then they also have Tenacity. When you depart, gain a survival token. You may spend the survival token at any time to gain +1 survival. And then when you spend the survival token, gain +1 check. So let's read our survivalism book. Proceed to rank 1. You are alone. All that matters is your survival. Adapt and survive. Gain +1 Lumi and roll a d10. With a 4, your heart hardens to your fellow survivors as you imagine numerous scenarios in which you must choose yourself over them. A hard lump forms in your throat. You disgust yourself. You strike the ground harder and harder until the stone cracks beneath your bloodied fist. Gain Desperate Strike. So Desperate Strike. On a perfect hit, gain 1 observation. And that now goes into our knowledge deck. And we are done here. As that is level 2, which we are not ready for. So, of course, this survivor is kind of going to be the most important person in the settlement for a while. So we are done with first meal. So we'll during the development phase, right? So let's go back here because we have, I believe, one more thing to do. We also need to name our settlement. Yeah. Which will give 1 survival to our returning folks. I'll just quickly do that here. And then anyway, we have Extinguished Guidepost. Right. Just outside the settlement, they gather to form a deadly pact. A death pact is formed. They will return with a kill or not at all. Gain the Death Pact innovation and the Outskirts settlement location. That one's definitely in here. So when the survivors perish on the hunt or are defeated in the showdown, logistics of death. And then we can special innovate Pictograph, which Pictograph is actually really important for Ark Survivor campaigns for a number of reasons. We are done with you. An ill-omened stench spreads through the settlement. Following the smell, the survivors reach an extinguished guidepost. The foul wind moans through its darkened lamp. On the ground, the survivors find a waxy gray object. Its eye-watering smell prevents them from seeing it clearly. Gagging and weeping, they roll it in layers of cloth until its smell is merely repulsive. The survivors contrive a use for the dreaded pack. Nominate a survivor to accompany the hunting survivors. The dreaded burden is lifted onto their shoulders. They are the scout this lantern year, and they feel a grim responsibility. I'm pretty sure I know who I want this to be. It's going to be Marie, because she has that -1 speed, but the scout doesn't really do any attacking that often. We saw last campaign there is a weapon that the scout gets, so having them attack once is actually pretty helpful. But if the scout is a regular member of your offense, things ain't going too well. So roll a d10. Oh, a nice 1. That's cool. The survivors affixing the bundle for travel are overcome by its raw stench. For just a moment, the bundle slips, revealing its foul contents to the scout. Their tears sizzle in their eyes, and their hair withers and falls to the ground. They exhale a final sigh of relief before losing unconsciousness. Scout suffers -1 accuracy and evasion. This is why we don't pick a good survivor for this. And then that is everything there. Update our death count. We did that. Check milestones, which means we do have our death thingy. Our principal. Oops, that's the wrong one. We'll just go there. Principle of death. Graves. Just graves. I mean, that's normal. So all new survivors gain +1 understanding, and then when people die, we get endeavors for it. We check that off there. And we check that off there. And then we roll a d10. With an 8, pretty good. Nominate a survivor with tears in their eyes. A survivor takes a shard of rock from the grave and marks themselves with it. They cherish this mark forever. Survivor gains +1 permanent luck. I was probably going to give that to Randolph, since Randolph hasn't really had much going. +1 permanent luck. So Randolph's going to be our fist and tooth specialist going forward, at least for the time being. Okay, and now we can finally develop. So, as usual, 1, 2, 3. Just spend that to unlock. Oh, we also get the outskirts previously. So we've got all of our crafting locations open. And then before we get into crafting, well, let's grab all of our goodies. Not a lot of bones, which is not great. We are just going to spend our love juice to trigger intimacy. All right, and we are well fed because we did earn a collective cognition this year, so we will add +1 to our roll. Nominate 2 consenting survivors. We're just going to pick 2 nameless folks and roll our d10. The 6, that becomes a 7. Gain +1 population. We did it. This was the hardest thing in the world to do last time. The parents decide to spend time alone with the newborn. None of them participate in any endeavors this year. The experience is wonderful, and the parents each gain +10 survival if the settlement has a grand feast. We do not. So these folks will be maxed out on survival. And then we will make a new baby, who, because of graves, will start with +1 understanding. And then that will trigger our new life principle. And we are, as I usually do, going to choose without mercy to gain survival of the fittest. Feeling good about this run, y'all. Definitely in better shape. So, first of all, survival limit +1. Oh, this now ticks up to 13. Then, unfortunately, from now on, when we roll on intimacy, we roll twice and pick the lowest. All current and newborn survivors gain +1 strength, +1 evasion, and once per lifetime may re-roll a single result. Huge. Now I'm feeling okay. Now I'm feeling okay. And we got to roll on a d10 over here. With a 7, that's a good one. The child is raised as a pure warrior, leaving compassion and fear behind. The newborn survivor gains +2 courage and the tough fighting art, and 1 random disorder. So this is actually the first time we get to do vaultless. Wow. All right, so +2 courage. We're also going to give them their strength and evasion. We'll figure the rest out in due time. They do get a random disorder, which is not great. They get monster panic. I don't like the sound of that. Whenever you suffer brain damage from an intimidate action, suffer 1 additional brain damage. Okay. So the croc does a lot of brain damage, but not a lot of it comes from intimidates, I think. Might be worth holding back on the croc, though, just to be safe. So yeah, this is the first time we've got to do this. All right, so new 4th attempt at Dreamkeeper. It's the first time we've done vaultless. As you walk the winding, high-walled thought path, you feel the border approaching. Explore the maze or press through the barrier. If an ARC survivor would gain a fighting art, instead, choose to explore the maze or press through. It's a secret fighting art, other things happen. So we are going to explore the maze. With a 9, I like the sound of that. You scramble up heaps of experience and impressions. The fighting art forms your final foothold. It crumbles as you ascend to higher clarity, gain +1 Lumi. Okay, so nothing special. But a Lumi. At some point, we'll see what that does. I know what it does, but we have not seen it on stream. So if it's a fighting art you really want, you can press through. Gain +1 systematic pressure, which... Oh, would that have been relevant? I don't think it would have been relevant. Somebody had +1 systematic pressure. But the only one that was rolling on the table was Carla, and she died anyway. Yeah, systematic pressure means you subtract however much systematic pressure you have from your severe injury rolls. So you can, it's +1 torment. Nothing happens. And then on A+, you can gain the fighting art. Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's just going to come up. So now we are done with all that. Again, we can check off here. We're actually getting really close to our society principle, too. Get in there. There we go. Excellent. So now we can develop. All right, so starting off with, can we make a croc weapon? We can make a croc bone hammer. Yeah, unfortunately, without much bone, that's all we got going for us. Can Can I make the beads? I cannot make the beads. Does the Crimson Fin get us? Looks like for right now, the Crimson Fin is just going to be a regular. Like, it'll make the Crimson Dress, but I don't want to start working on Croc Armor this early. So it's either a Croc Bone Hammer or 2 Bone Blades. We have 2 Founding Stones. If I remember correctly, the Croc Bone Hammer is pretty good. So hits on 7 with 2 strength. I actually don't love that right now. It's good later on, but we're not going to be coming up against any super dense stuff anytime soon. Like, I think the Butcher is the first time we're going to see super dense. Whereas a Bone Blade, 262, oopsie. 272. So statistically, the Bone Blade is just better. So yeah, I think the play is actually just to make 2 Bone Blades. Or a Bone Blade and a Bone Axe is probably the better one. So I got organs. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a Bone Blade and a Bone Axe. Or, ooh, do I want the Bone Darts? Bone Darts actually is gonna be better than a Bone Blade. Yeah. Was not thinking. That'll give us a little bit more to work with on those coagulated hit locations. All right, and then we've got flesh. So we've basically got 3 hides and then organs. So I think the play is to make 3 pieces of leather and a monster grease. I like that. So let's get a monster grease. And we'll get headband, vest, and gloves. Perfect. So we'll have most of a tank. We'll have a couple good weapons. Well, not good weapons. We'll have a couple weapons. But definitely stuff we're going to want to work on replacing. And all right, so we're going to take a short break here while I get everything set up for our Lantern Year 1 croc fight. So hang around and I'll be back in just a bit.